Hey everyone, happy Monday to you. Welcome to Defiance Daily. I'm Maritza Giorgio, co-host of the Grounded podcast with former Senator John Tester. And I am in here for Miles Taylor today. And we are going to pick up where we left off on Friday. Let's bring in Xander first, though. Xander Schultz, co-founder of defiance.org. Hey, Xander.
And friend of Maritza Giorgio, hopefully.
That's
the most important title.
Yeah. Hey, I'm proud to call you a friend. I'm always talking up Xander Schultz. You do know this guy? He's amazing. How was your weekend?
I don't even have to pay you that much for it. It's really nice.
No, yeah, nothing yet.
Money. Weekend was good. My girls are back. Zoe and Maya were off with their family down in South Lake Tahoe, so they're back home. I feel reoriented. I've become a cleaner, more responsible person immediately once they're back in the house. So it's nice to have them back.
Always good to get back on track. All right. Speaking of getting back on track, let's pick up where we left off on Friday. I was with you on Friday too, Xander. Literally, let's pick up, because if you were watching live at the very end on Friday, you'll remember right before we signed off, the news broke that the Justice Department, the DOJ, had abruptly dropped its felony case against former Olympian David Hearn, who had been accused of vandalizing the president's reflecting pool. Well, it's not really the president's, it's all of our reflecting pool. At the time, all we really knew was that the case had been dropped. But we've learned a whole lot since then, Xander. Were you able to catch any of it this weekend? I know you were busy.
I try to be a phone off type of guy during the weekend, but this thing was so much of a train wreck. I had to stay tuned in a little bit. It looks like another loyalist is going down today.
Yeah, exactly. So Judge Jeanine Pirro, she might want to re-up. Yeah, that one. You know her. She might want to re-up her wine club membership, maybe, Xander, because she's about to have a lot more time on her hands, probably. I don't know. I like a puzzle too with my wine, or maybe like a craft. But after leaving her job at Fox News to become the U.S. Attorney in Washington, it looks like she's going to end up where all of Trump's loyalists eventually end up, under the bus.
Oh, it's not celebrated as a hero to the country. It is under the bus. Yeah, that sounds about right, gang. I don't know when they're going to learn. This is not a pathway towards success and adoration. But all right, Jeanine, welcome to the club.
Yeah, so many people have joined this club over the years. So she's the latest member. I mean, last I checked, it's been 6 minutes since I've checked my phone. So, we never know what would have happened.
Yeah,
but we got the news last weekend. And remember, I mean, we can see that image of Judge Jeanine at the podium last month where she announced felony charges against David Hearn.
She was very serious when she did it, too. She seems so sure of herself.
Yes, very forceful. Like, you're going to see the evidence. You'll see. There's no getting out of this. Saying that she had evidence that showed he forcefully and violently removed the pool liner material, and that she had full faith her office would prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm going to work on my Judge Jeanine impression offline, and then I'll come back with it maybe later.
It could be a good one. It's a good character.
Now, a month later, her office has now admitted, oopsie, the evidence doesn't support the case here.
Not just that, right? It's not just that. Who do they think did do this? Because there is a culprit.
Yeah. So they say that the evidence showed that the damage was done because of the installation. They called it botched. And Pirro is now saying that the Interior Department withheld critical information and had provided less than fulsome information. And one of the details here is the timeline, folks, because according to internal Park Service emails, the peeling of that liner, of that paint, of that sludge that was coming up and you saw it floating on the surface of the reflecting pool, well, that was documented as early as June 11th. Hearn didn't visit until June 19th, 8 days later. So Pirro's office wrote that had the Interior Department been forthcoming with the information it already had, they never would have sought a grand jury indictment in the first place. Who could have seen this coming?
It's so funny also them just getting to the bottom of this while the whole thing is a mess. It's like totaling your car and then wondering who scratched the paint on like one piece of it. The whole crime is hilarious. So yeah, any info on why he was indicted then? This makes no sense.
Well, that's really the question here, right? I mean, I think like he touched the liner. He took a photo. He took a photo of the paint floating at the top. According to Piro's own filing, they didn't have the engineering reports, the contractor records, or Interior Department documents that ultimately blew this case apart until after Hearn had already been indicted. So if you're wondering why they rushed this in the first place, you're not the only one. Here's Senator John Kennedy on Meet the Press yesterday, if we have this.
The public's faith in the Justice Department, Senator?
Well, the whole thing is a multiple vehicle pileup. Let me start with the president. The president says it was caused by vandals. I don't know whether he really believes that or it's part of his political messaging or he's just thinking out loud. You and I both know the president well. He exists loudly and he grows anxious when he has an unexpressed thought. I'm not saying he doesn't really believe it. I just don't know. Now, the stakes are a lot higher for U.S. Attorney Pirro. You can't lie to a federal judge. If she can't prove her case, she was right to pull back. Because if you fool around with a federal judge, you will find out that federal judges will not tolerate it. And so if I don't know why she filed the suit without doing a full investigation. She says she relied on the Department of Interior, but she was smart to pull it back.
I don't know why these guys keep doing these nonsensical things. It's like there's a nonsensical person at the top of their org chart that's asking for them to do nonsensical, illegal things.
I loved what he said. I actually wrote it down verbatim. The president grows anxious when he has an unexpressed thought. Yeah.
No kidding.
I know a few people like that, but specifically
in fact,
him.
So anxious he wakes up at 2 a.m. just to offload everything that's been saved from the first 4 hours of
Yes, we can't let it go by. And it gets so much worse here because once prosecutors actually reviewed the engineering reports and the contractor reports, they concluded that the widespread damage was not caused by vandalism at all. It was caused by a rushed installation that repeatedly failed because the administration was trying to get this thing done before the American 250 celebration. So rushed, right? What is it? Haste makes waste.
Who would this responsibility fall on to, Maritza? Who is, you think, really ultimately doing things in a rushed manner that doesn't follow institutional norms, that isn't careful to respect the people and processes involved? Anyone come to mind at the top of that list?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Is he orange?
Maybe he's orange.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing is, it doesn't really matter because now that Piro's dropped the case, of course, he set his sights on her. So over the weekend, he rage posted about her saying, quote, "I disagree 100% with Jeanine Pirro. I don't know what she was thinking. To me, it was a pure case of vandalism." Well, maybe to me too, actually, President Trump, because you guys drove your motorcade on it and you guys took out the nano bubblers and you guys painted it dark blue where algae grows and spreads. And Piro's own filing to withdraw this case wrote, quote, "A recent visual inspection showed damage throughout the reflecting pool, even in the middle of the pool, where a vandal would not likely attempt to peel the lining, but where we did see cars driving on it." Prosecutors added, "Given all of this newly discovered information, it is difficult to attribute the widespread damage to the reflecting pool to vandalism, let alone to establish the fact beyond a reasonable doubt."
To be fair, he was an Olympic swimmer, so he could have got to the middle pretty quickly.
I thought he was a canoeist.
Or a canoeist. Is it canoeist? He was a water sports athlete of some type.
He's into water. We know that. He likes water.
He might have made it to the middle pretty quick. But no, yeah, we see the vandalism. Vandalism is very obvious. We cover the vandalism all the time here. They're doing a really good job vandalizing not just the Constitution and our rights, but also the actual physical monuments of this country.
Yeah. Remember the East Wing? How's that going? Where's the East Wing? That's
Just
gone.
wait. It's going to be a freaking sweet ballroom, Maritza. Gosh, you just don't get it. You just don't get the ballroom project.
You're right. You're so right. I literally do not get it. So regardless of the fact that he has spun out online over all of this, Trump isn't done. An inside source tells CNN that Trump remains furious as they find it highly likely she's removed from her job. I'm talking about Judge Jeanine. So it looks like another Trump loyalist gets the well-deserved honor of what serving him gets you in the end.
Yeah, yeah. And like, maybe worse, like, it's unemployment, but you also have like a pariah status in society for a while,
Right.
which is much worse. I've been unemployed before. I haven't been a societal pariah before. I'm guessing the latter is worse. It does. I wonder. I was talking about this weekend, or I tweeted about it, or whatever you do on Substack, left a note about it, about the need to make sure, when we're covering these things, like, it is funny to laugh at it and it is nonsensical, but just to like back up a step, Trump is ordering every one of his foot soldiers to attack the left and people fighting for the Constitution and people fighting for our rights as much as possible. So the fact that he throws her under the bus is almost irrelevant. It doesn't make sense when you look at the case. It doesn't make sense when you look at the evidence. It does make sense when you remember this guy's trying to conquer the United States from within, and he's ordering everyone under him to attack those fighting for it with all the tools they have at their disposal. And this was just another case of that, and another case where he lost. Our system held. It's really nice to see.
Well, and again, I think about this all the time. I learned at a very young age that it was much more beneficial to me if I did something, wrong, or I got in trouble for something, to just fess up to my mom rather than try to lie to her. It was always worse off in the end. And we keep seeing these lies and these lies. And then, when the proof is there and we're all seeing it with our own eyes, they double down. Like, nope, nope. I'm sure Judge Jeanine is suddenly, very, very concerned about defying the president. She wouldn't do this if it just simply wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Like Senator Kennedy said, it's a whole different ball game to lie in court than it is on Truth Social. So, oh, well, she didn't do what we wanted. She didn't say what we wanted. She didn't stick to the script. So she is now enemy number one. And the thing is that this is about the reflecting pool, which is, in a broad view of the world, a small thing. But these lies, when you're lying to the American people and then doubling down and having, like you said, your foot soldiers go out and continue to double down and lie on your behalf, like, how are we supposed to restore trust and decency and civility in this world?
Yeah, lies beget more lies. It's such a good point. Like, the reason they probably can't own up that it's the construction company that they hired to do it is because that construction company was hired on a no bid contract because they were supposedly so well qualified to take on this project. And so you can't say it was those guys. Those guys who are the reason we step past our entire process because they're so good at refurbishing tools.
We handpicked those totally guys. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of somebody's in the chat saying gaslighting. It is gaslighting. Like, no, that's not what happened. Don't pay attention to the evidence or the video or the audio or the pictures. Like, that's not what happened at all. You can't believe your own eyes. Okay, so let's get back to Todd Blanche. This was another showdown we were watching over the weekend. There's so much happening too. Like, I keep getting updates here throughout the day. So a lot keeps changing with this or being added to it, I guess. But as a recap, Friday ended with Senators Cornyn and Tillis refusing to move Todd Blanche's nomination to be Attorney General. He's acting Attorney General now, to move him to be official Attorney General. They refused to move that nomination forward. Over the weekend, Todd Blanche finally blinked. Xander, your turn. Fill us in. What happened?
I got to deliver this news. All right, sure. So late Sunday night, Blanche issued a formal order rescinding the $1.8 billion weaponization fund that was supposed to compensate Trump allies, including January 6th defendants who claimed they had been politically persecuted. I think they think persecuted means prosecuted. They were prosecuted, but they keep saying they were persecuted. Remember, this is exactly what Cornyn and Tillis had been demanding in writing before they would move his nomination. So once that happened, they did flip. Case closed, right, Maritza?
Yeah, no way. Not even a chance. There are still many red flags afloat. One is being that Todd Blanche is the only one who signed this order. And the original settlement says that any of the changes have to actually be tagged to in writing by all parties. So not just Todd Blanche.
Yeah, and including, as one of those parties, our dear friend Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. And the president definitely has something to say about that, as he said out loud in the Oval Office today. Let's see what he said.
Mr. President, did you sign off on Todd Blanche rescinding?
I didn't look at it. All I know is that Todd Blanche is great. He's going to do a great job. Everybody knows it. And I understand there's been a sign off, but I don't know what they agreed. I think Todd Blanche agreed to reconfirm things that he's already said, and what he said was okay.
So this entire agreement that got Blanche over the finish line, the president clearly hasn't read it. Not even says he clearly hasn't read it.
I didn't look at it.
I didn't look at it. I don't know. It's fine. You can't, if you're a senator, you can't move forward with that level of confidence. All right.
Also, he's supposed to be signing off on this, so he didn't even look at it yet. And we're going to trust the guy who says that an Olympic canoeist vandalized the reflecting pool. We're going to trust that he's, I'm sure he's good for it. He's good for that signature. And remember, this was not some minor technicality here. This was Senators Cornyn and Tillis who raised this exact concern during Blanche's confirmation hearings. And Senator Cornyn actually pointed out that the settlement required all parties to agree to agree to any changes in writing. There we go. Words are hard on Monday sometimes. Cornyn's entire concern last week was whether this thing could just simply come back from the dead. Now, Trump is saying he never signed the order that supposedly killed it. He hasn't even seen it.
So we're right back to where we started then.
Yeah, maybe. That's what our friend Liz Oyer was just saying. I was watching her on Nicole Wallace saying that really nothing has been gained here. And she pointed out that if there was any indication that they were going to step back from this, why is the Trump administration actively fighting this ruling from Florida that voided the anti-weaponization fund to begin with? Like, if they're saying, yeah, we'll step back on this, they're actively in court, spending money, time, legal energy, fighting that decision from Florida. So multiple legal experts here say Blanche's order does not stop the fund from being revived later. And one former Justice Department attorney actually called this move political show. Others say that Blanche could simply just reverse the order after he's confirmed, or that Trump could try to enforce the original settlement because he never agreed to change it. So a lot of avenues here.
So Cornyn got a piece of paper, but whether he's actually got what he wanted is it's still an open question if he's going to get what he wanted out of this thing.
Right. Like, not a whole lot of confidence in this. It's definitely gray. There's another detail, though, that got overshadowed, because remember, this was all part of that IRS settlement. The president was suing his own IRS for $10 billion, and everyone focused on the slush fund. But Blanche left another major piece of that settlement on the table, largely intact. According to The Hill, the agreement still shields Trump, his adult children, and the Trump Organization from federal investigations into past conduct related to the settlement period. And Blanche clarified this only applies retroactively and only to the named parties, but the immunity itself remains. Remember, the immunity from being audited by the IRS.
Is that on the menu? Can you ask for that? I didn't know that was a thing we could even try to negotiate for, is never being audited by our government. Still seems like a pretty freaking good deal for Trump then.
Well, if they ever come after you, I'd say, hey, I saw that news. I want that one. That's what that's the option I want. I want what he's having.
I decide this taxes thing is too much. I'd like to not do it anymore. Thank you.
No, this just isn't working out for me, actually. This is just it doesn't again, I was just watching Liz Oyer on Nicole Wallace, and she was saying there's just absolutely nothing that they gained. And remember those hearings. This was not just the only thing that was brought up during those confirmation hearings as a concern. If you remember, there were dozens of Epstein survivors testifying and trying to meet with senators, asking for time. They had a meeting with Todd Blanche, which they left feeling dissatisfied with. And nowhere in this negotiation to get these senators to flip and push him through is a mention of these Epstein survivors.
I question whether really they didn't get anything, though. I think they didn't get anything if we take their demands as earnest, if that was their goal. But I think one thing we've learned a lot about these characters in DC is they're survivalists. They're their own best PR team. And they're oftentimes, to the point about like all of Trump's lies, they're oftentimes betting on people getting incomplete or biased stories. And so, maybe there is something that they believe they gained by, showing that they stuck up for this issue, without the intention to ever win. Maybe Trump knew at the end of the day, there was no intention to eventually hold his feet to the fire. Who knows? My faith. Yeah.
These two are out.
They're
Cornyn was primaried, and Tillis is not running again.
Yeah, no, you would think there'd be a lot more political bravery in that moment, and we've seen some people become more politically brave because of that. But still, I don't know. They're moving into other careers, other stages of life. Maybe they're just saving face. I don't know. I'm very cynical about these DC folks.
I understand, and I still am like a Pollyanna with my baby birds and deer in the backyard, and just like trying to be Snow White over here. All right, Xander. I do want to talk.
You are a good Snow White. I hadn't thought about that. You are very Snow White. It's your lifestyle.
Disney adult over here. But before we bring in our guests here, move into the next phase, I do want to talk about something that we have been talking a lot about, you and I offline, but also thinking about. And it's not necessarily corruption, but corruption fatigue. Because there's so much, it's similar to the flood the zone tactic with just headline after headline. But there's so much corruption coming out of this administration and this time period in general that people have really almost stopped reacting to it. Like these headlines that would normally be huge deals just are blips in the day, and we've become so desensitized to it. And according to new polling highlighted by NPR from the Brennan Center, that's exactly what is happening, because huge majorities of Americans, regardless of party, believe that corruption is a problem in politics. But the researchers also found something else here, and it's that people are, like you, becoming cynical. They're becoming numb. They almost expect politicians to enrich themselves in office. This is just what you get. This is just part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I certainly came at my political activation was on that narrative as well. It was probably more as a Bernie bro than anything else. But I totally understand. And I think there's this self-enrichment Trump's doing that's so over the top, him and his allies, that is making it easier to understand. But, for a long time, our political system has enriched other people for, small piece of the pie and a continuation of support for their political careers. And so, I wrote a piece actually dating back to the Powell memo. This morning I posted it and all that's happened over the last 50 years that's led people to even, elect Trump. It's funny thinking about Trump as an anti-corruption opportunity for a candidate for folks, but he really forget who he is and what he did. He did use the drain the swamp tagline frequently. That was one of his core promises, was to end corruption DC as an outsider. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that when people hear Trump is corrupt, the response is fuck, more of the same, not, oh my gosh, we've got to take care of this. I can't believe this crime in Gotham.
Well, yeah, and I think that part of the mental gymnastics that got some people there was, well, and he said this, I already have all this money. I don't need any more.
Yeah.
I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. I'm going to go. And the problem with that is that people thought that maybe there was a cap or a limit to how much people want and need when it comes to money and power.
There was a phrase. There was a phrase. The phrase is called FU money. We were hoping people had FU money. What we learned is that's not a real thing. The people that have FU money are addicted to money and can't stop themselves.
Yeah. Let's talk about this one story, for example. I did save a couple of clippings of this over the weekend to read more into. And it's something that came out. I doubt it's going to be making waves at the dinner table tonight, but it should. Let's listen.
This weekend, President Trump's social media posts are up for sale, and Democratic lawmakers are warning that this could lead to corruption. Trump's media and technology group rolled out a new service yesterday, giving traders and investors who pay up to $100,000 a month early access to Trump's posts. Now, in a letter to the SEC, Senators Elizabeth Warren and Adam Schiff write, quote, "This appears to be an outrageous abuse of the president's office for his personal benefit that undermines everyday investors and the integrity of our markets while enriching Wall Street and other wealthy insiders." So
way to go, legacy media, really stepping up with the word could. This could lead to corruption. Really?
It could.
But
we'll see how it shakes out.
God damn it, dude. All right.
Yeah. I mean, Martha Stewart would like a word. Martha Stewart would like a word, my friends, because she did time. She did hard time for insider trading. And
the shit that people have been arrested for so much less is incredible.
The thing, why is everything for sale? Why is everything for sale? Why can't, if I just don't understand. I mean, I do understand, but I don't understand. Like, you're what more could you possibly need? And I'm sure this will not lead to corruption. I'm sure, even though we have staffers inside the administration making bets on Polymarket, that this won't lead to anything bad.
That shit's so wild. I was reading about that this morning. Well, it's like one thing also, if Trump was just a guy, that would also not be good to just get inside, like a guy that knew stuff is to get into inside info. But he's the president of the United States. He announces tariffs on Truth Social. He's a wild president of the United States, I should say. That's not enough to say. He announces major things on his social media platform. He announces tariffs. He announces foreign policy decisions and like all sorts of other market moving news on Truth Social.
And he knows that the markets react. He knows that he has to put one Truth Social post out and the markets can go up or down. And I think he relishes in having that kind of power. So alarm bells are ringing, of course. If you have the money to get these posts before everyone else, you stand to make a whole lot of money. And critics say that, of course, yes, opens the door to insider trading, market manipulation. Again, like all the people who have done hard time for this would really love to know more.
Dude, opens the door is so shortchanging it. Knowing he's so like traders, I know a lot of traders. Traders love volatility. Volatility is where you make your money. If you can get ahead of
traders, TRADERS. Traders, not traders.
In this case, maybe both. Love volatility. He's successfully made himself the most volatile agent in the entire global economy. And so if you can get ahead of that, you can make a boatload of money. So yeah, this would be whatever. Where's my impeachment alarm alert? This impeachable offense alert. Like that's for sure. This is an impeachable offense. This would have been a Bernie Madoff level story like 5 years ago. But it's not 5 years ago. It's 2026. We're having a good time out here. There's a crisis every day.
Yeah, 2026, the year of our Lord, where you can literally just buy access to the president of the United States, buy your pardon for, you name it, fraud, corruption, all of the above, and just literally buy tickets to a UFC event and just go hang out in the Oval Office. Like, that's totally normal and totally free and accessible to we the people. This is kind of authoritarian practice, right? So much all the time that people would rather just be numb than to take the time to consume it, to process it, to confront it. And one of the voters interviewed, going back to that survey we talked about at the top, one of the voters interviewed by NPR literally said she wasn't even troubled by politicians getting richer in office anymore because she thinks it's just typical. That's just what happens. And that is exactly why we are having this conversation today with our guests who are joining us, because staying engaged when it feels like you are drinking from a fire hose is hard. We know that. And that's part of the reason I think that all of us are in this. It's certainly part of the reason I started Grounded with John Tester. I know it's part of the reason we come on here and do Defiance Daily with you, Xander, and also with Miles and so many of our other friends in this space, because we have to find a way to consume this in a way that's not completely unhealthy. So joining us now, we want to bring on Josh Lynn, co-founder of Represent Us, an award-winning creative director, along with George Conscious Lee. They've been working to elevate one simple idea that non-violent acts of courage are one of the most effective ways to push back against authoritarianism. So Josh and George, thanks so much for being here.
It's so great to join you guys.
Right on. Nice seeing you guys.
You too.
Xander,
So
start us off.
All right, I'll do it. All right, gang, we spent the last 10 minutes talking about corruption overload. It almost feels like people are getting numb to this conversation. Your argument is almost the opposite with the Courage Network, that courage is contagious. Why, George, I want to start with you, and Josh, get your thoughts there. I want to hear from you first on how we can turn this around.
I think that Huey P. Newton, the co-founder of the Black Panther Party, he once said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. I'm repeating one more time. He said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon. I think right now our courage is gonna come from us being able to understand what's going on and really being able to kill some of the uncertainty. I feel like right now we're being flushed, bro. We're being flushed with a whole bunch of news, and it's making it where we're overwhelmed and overstimulated. Sometimes it's slow it down. And peep the footwork that's happening politically, socioeconomically, and you can make a best action.
Yeah. Josh, your thoughts?
You guys have talked a lot on this episode about the overwhelming amount of corruption, just this flood of news that every day, making it normal, making it feel inevitable. And the idea behind the Courage Network is that none of this is actually inevitable, right? Like all of this happens with the permission of the governed. That's us, we the people. And so we have to do our job of reminding everyone across the country that it's not only not okay, but you actually can do something about it. And that's the thing that people forget. It's like, well, whatever, politicians get rich, I can't do anything about it. Well, whatever, they did this thing with the reflecting pool and the Epstein files and blah, blah, blah. But people can take action, and we want to show that and remind them and keep reminding them so that we all do more.
Man, I feel like I've been hanging out with you guys all day. I was just talking with Mayor Mondale Robinson. We were quoting Huey Newton, and then we were talking about the politics of inevitability and how it is such a challenge to get past this feeling that this whole moment's inevitable. This guy, Tim Snyder, talks about it a lot in his book on freedom, which I've read a couple times now. And just as a quick follow-up, one of the things we were saying is in the 50s and 60s, when we saw a lot of progress on this front, those people had the benefit of living through a lot of progress, right? Like you think about all the wins the labor movement had through the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and so I wonder, without that background, what do you guys think is most helpful about where do you point to show, look, it's not inevitable? Is it abroad? Is it to the past? How do you all think about making the argument that it's not inevitable? Josh, I'll go in reverse order. Josh, I'll start with you, and then George.
Well, so I think there's the little things that happen every day, right? Citizens Bank just this last week came up under so much pressure that they, took away bank accounts that private prisons were using. You got the Capital One thing this weekend. So it works every single day. Every single day we have a story of courage and defiance that is working. But I also think we've somehow lost the plot on some of the other progress that we've made as a society. Like things do continue to get better. We just stop talking about them. And I think the opportunity that you're pointing to is just reminding us all that things are still so bad. And on the other hand, they're getting so much better. And so let's celebrate that. Let's remind ourselves. Lee?
Man, I think that a lot of times we get lost in the sauce between normalization and naturalization. And we believe that because chaos has been normalized, that we believe it's natural. I think that when we start to question the concept of inevitability, something I learned in college was the question for who. You know, I just happen to be a Hall of Fame college policy debater. But one of the things I learned, though, was always asking the specific question of who benefits, how that benefits, never asking general questions. Talking about inevitability in politics, inevitability for who? There's a bunch of tactics and impacts that's already been a part of status quo that we've been having a hard time being able to draw those lines. Second thing I'll say, and I'll be simple with this, it's the reason why people in power have been going after media. Because they want to dictate how we tell narratives, and they want to dictate how the narrative is being interpreted, i.e., we want you being doom and gloom. We ain't got to do that. That's the reason why it's important to support independent media, but also understanding that narratives are to be constructed and deconstructed.
It's a great point. And George, I hope your signal is a little shaky, so I hope it works out here. But your platform actually reaches people who don't normally tune into political conversations, and they might just say, I don't want to go there. It's too much, or I talk politics. So when you highlight someone standing up instead of another outrage story, do you notice that people come at it differently, that they respond differently, that they consume it differently?
Definitely. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yep.
Can you hear me better now? Can you hear me
Yes.
better now? Yeah, a little bit. I think people want to feel autonomy. People want to feel like they can impact the world that's going on around them and that the world not just happening to them. Sometimes in politics, we normalize a narrative that says that politics acts on about how we. I don't know what.
Oh
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm on Wi-Fi.
Oh, there we go.
Right now.
No worries about it. It's all right. Josh, a lot of pressure on you. You've got to hold the Courage Network baton alone. Go ahead, buddy.
No, bueno. Look, I mean, the reason that we have George here with us, and I want to just talk about him for a minute, is part of what the Courage Network does is we work with a bunch of creators that tell the stories of regular, everyday Americans who are standing up to this administration, standing up to this regime. And what's amazing about it, George just said, like, we want to control the narrative. That's why the autocrats are going after legacy media. It's why this matters so much. It's why the work that you guys are doing matters so much. There are stories every day of people stepping up and doing brave actions, whether it's being out on the street, whether it's filming somebody, whether it's taking a photo of that kid getting arrested by ICE just to show how bad of a job they're doing. That's what matters. And look, I think you started by asking, like, how does this narrative work? Like, are people responding to it? And it's been incredible to see the response to Courage Network content. Like, millions and millions and millions of people tuning in to view stories of fighting back against the administration. And it tells me that that's what Americans actually want.
It's
and I
so
do think
validating. Go ahead, Marisa.
Oh, sorry, Xander. I think, like, when you're talking about that, I can see in my head, Josh, the picture of little Liam Ramos with his blue bunny hat, and I can see in my head all of these ways that push back and peaceful resistance worked. That we stopped, that the people of Minnesota, ended, not completely, but ended the really egregious Operation Metro Surge back in January, that they took to the streets and they pushed back. And that when people shouted and screamed about the warehouse prisons, that suddenly companies were pulling out of the deals, or, the city manager of a tiny little town outside of Atlanta was able to shut down this hundreds of millions of dollars in operations. So I think that gives so many people hope that these actions that might feel small really are not, when we're all doing it together.
I think it also shifts the. Sorry, Xander. I think it also shifts the narrative and, like, how do we?
I'll just hang out.
I want to be friends with Maritza just like you are.
We're friends. We're friends.
Go ahead, Josh. Sorry, buddy.
I think it shifts the narrative as well, is the thing I wanted to point out. Like, all the stories that you just mentioned, it shows people who maybe are only tuning into one network or the other what's actually happening behind the scenes, right? Like, because the story of what was happening in Minnesota was horrific. It's unacceptable, and people know it deep down. Like, regardless of which way you voted, last time around. Like, you know what's right and what's wrong. And so for us to be able to highlight the stories of how bad it is and not let propagandistic media cover that up and tell the story they want to tell the story the administration wants to tell, is part of our power. And it's part that we have to get back.
I was going to say, it's very validating to hear you say this, especially about the positive stories. Like, I think in general, our attempt at covering the news here has been about, trying to make people feel empowered, not just to cover it, but to say, what can you do? But then recently we've had this rapid fire defiance at the very top of our show, which is just a bunch of wins that have happened because it's so easy to lose track. The Trump administration shoots 10 shots a day. And like crazy stories, all worth covering. We can't even cover all those, but we don't really track them. And the truth of the matter is they're losing all over the place because of people from all over society, everyday people, judges, local politicians. And so we've added that back just for that reason. The other thing I find really, we've added that to the top of our show for the reasons you stated. The other thing I find really interesting is you're called Courage Network, but it's not like you're building a television network. You are almost taking a modern approach to this idea of network, which is most people follow people now. And so it's not about getting everyone to tune into your television channel. It's about dissemination through a disparate group of people to put those stories in their own voice or to amplify them in the ways that feel organic and will have a response from their followings. Can you talk a little bit about building a modern network and what that looks like?
Yeah, I'll take it one step further. It's not just the network of people that are doing the amplifying. It's that we want to bring everyone into this network of courage, right? If you're the person that took action and you got amplified, now you're part of the Courage Network. If you're watching or following one of our creators, now you're part of the Courage Network. And it's that network effect that is modern and it does build. Part of what we're trying to achieve here is similar to the kind of Kennedy profiles and courage of the 70s when we had a much simpler media environment. But the people that get profiled in those things are like Nobel winners, right? It's like they make it to the very top of that pyramid of storytelling. And what we're trying to remind everyone is that we can all be courageous because, like you said, it might be a judge, it might be a politician, it might be a Trump deserter, right? Look at what's happening right now on the other side. They're crumbling and falling apart and they're all over the place. That takes courage to step away from that mess. Or it might just be the
one
person
of them co-founded this thing.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah.
One of those guys
Talk about courage.
Right,
I mean, ahead of his time.
Yeah, there's a book that Sharon McMahon, one of my favorite influencers, wrote called The Small and the Mighty, and it goes back in history and talks about these people whose names we don't learn in school, and they're not necessarily in the history books, but really how much they made a difference. And it is important to remember all of these small acts do make a difference. So if someone is, I ask this question of so many people because everyone has really great responses and they're all different. But if someone at home is saying like, okay, where do I start? What's a tangible thing I can start with? What do you say to people? Like, what's one thing you could do today?
The thing that I would say is most important is to go join up with one of the organizations that's doing the organizing. There are civil rights organizations, democracy organizations. There's there's 2 marches coming up at the end of August that you can be part of. One around civil rights, one around upholding democracy, one around the immigration crisis. And the truth is, any single one of these organizations doing any bit of this work is worth being a part of. So if you like local politics, go join up there. I noticed actually in Xander's background, he's got Desmond Meade's book. Desmond is one of our heroes for both of us. But look, he's also decided he's running for governor of Florida right now. Like everybody can take that next step by finding a way to be a part of it. And so that's what I would say. We have a list of things people can do at couragenet.org. You can go there or you can go find another list. We're here to amplify other groups because there's already so much incredible leadership out there.
Is joining Defiance on your website as part of one of those courageous acts, Josh?
You bet it is. Absolutely.
All right. Fabulous.
Yeah, I think you guys are actually listed in there as a partner. How could you not be? I mean, come on, it's right in the name. Defiance, courage. You guys are amazing.
Yeah. We're not the most creative on the pro-democracy side. I'm going to, right after this, to go see Ami Fieldsmeyer talk about his book on courage. We've got like 5 words that we use a lot.
Oh, that's right. He's in Portland. That's right.
He's in Portland at Pal's Bookstore. So that's what I'm doing after this.
That's awesome.
All right, Josh. Thank you so much for joining us, brother. Thank you for all your great work. Josh has been a hero in the pro-democracy space, not just with this effort, but for a while now. And so thank you for continuing to pound pavement for all of us, man.
Thank you for everything you guys do as well. It's amazing.
All right, have a good one, buddy. All right. Ready to bring this
so
home?
exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
I'm
nice.
excited for you to go to Powell's, though. That's going to be fun. I just saw him post about that.
Totally. I was thinking about this point you made about history and highlighting the people who aren't remembered. The way we tell history really screws us over. I think on the good guy side, we kind of wait for a hero. Right. I know I do at times, you know, like, oh, when's that person from the history book going to emerge?
Yeah, where are they? Where are they?
Where's our Moses? Is he coming? It feels like now would be a
so
great
long?
time. It's and you forget it's like all these little contributors everywhere. And sometimes you anoint like a spokesperson or whatnot, but a movement is almost never, you know, like centralized like that. And on the flip side, we are like telling kids everywhere the way you're remembered in history, whether it's Caesar or Napoleon, is like when you expand borders and conquer people is like the best guaranteed way to be remembered as long as possible.
Again, more power, more money, more greed. It kind of reminds me too, you're going to appreciate this, Xander, because we've had a lot of talks about like the up and comers and who to watch in 2028. And I'll compare it to this. What, you know, reporters do this thing called man on the street interviews, woman on the street interviews, where you go out and you just talk to people. And almost always the people who are like, I'll do it. I want to do it. Let me be on camera. They are not the people you want.
Right.
And the people who say like, oh no, that's it's not my thing, and you talk them into it and they do it, and you're like, why wouldn't you have wanted to do this? You're so good at it. You're like, and I think it's probably the same way in some of these political circles, like the people who like look at it and go, oof, that looks like I think I want to stay away from that, are probably the people we really need right now in the fight.
Yeah, there's like this like nightmare self-selection process that we go through. I always wanted to write like a book called The History of Peace. That instead of looking at like expanding boundaries, you know, when the Egyptians were the biggest, when you look at times where lots of different societies lived near each other in relative peace and what allowed for those eras and like who were the heroes of those eras. I mean, like I think there's even modern examples. I think the EU is a good example of that. Right after that continent spent, you know, hundreds of years killing each other, that it feels less thinkable that they would kill each other again. So I would love to. I would love to at one point. I don't know when that's going to happen. Try to shift the way we understand history to highlight the type of behavior that we would like to see from our societies at some point.
Well, and so much of it comes down to value systems and shared values, right? We could do a whole podcast about that.
We should stop now, though, before we do a whole podcast right now, so we can close out the show.
We'll close out this one. We'll close out this episode, and then maybe we'll talk about values another day, because it's just a tiny little topic, and
time for values.
Yeah, no one has time for that. All right, so our closing segment today is, of course, who is joining the Defiance today. We are heading to our neighbors to the north, Canada, who have a bird's eye view of the dumpster fire that is American politics today. And the Vancouver artist, Wendy Chartrand, was able to take that view and actually turn it into modern art, Xander, with a very fitting set of materials. Let's take a look.
Oh, no.
Portrait of U.S. President Donald Trump painted with horse manure by a BC artist has sold for $1,800. Vancouver Island artist Wendy Chartrand created the piece using what she calls an appropriate medium, saying it reflects her feelings about U.S. politics. The painting, titled The Dawn of Dung, was featured at the Souk Fine Arts Show, where it sold in just one day.
So live the type of life that doesn't end with somebody wanting to paint pictures of you with horse shit. Right? So I'm going to tell my son today when I get off, hey, Hunter, listen, I want to talk to you about how we should live life.
First and foremost, don't have someone want to paint you in horse shit.
like yeah,
that's a starting point. Do no harm. It's like the new do no harm. So $1,800, steal for fine art. I mean, I wonder how. I'm thinking about the smell that might emit, like how long it takes for it to dry. You've been out with the horses a bunch over there. It's not that bad. Out of all the shit paintings, horse is near the top of the list.
Oh yeah. Last time I went to that shit painting museum, that you're right, that one was the least. I have these
I thought you
wild
went to
horses.
the expo. I thought you went to the big event, the shit painting.
Oh, yeah. Well, I couldn't afford it this year. Next year, maybe. Yeah, we have this wild band of horses in my neighborhood, and so you're right. I am surrounded by horse shit. And $1,800, like, not bad for a fine piece of art, right? A steal. So the buyer who ended up buying this, who gets the pleasure of hanging this in their home, has chosen to stay anonymous. Have you seen Miles? Where is
Where's
he?
that guy at? He does have.
Is he at an art auction in Canada? Maybe because
he does have a nice house that has room for paintings. Although, dude, that's actually a nightmare scenario for Miles. Like, walk down the stairs and it's Trump's face every day. There's enough.
That is kind of the thing. Like,
there's enough of him.
You're gonna buy this painting of him, and you're gonna hang no matter what it's made of. You're gonna hang that in your house.
Yeah, not the face you want greeting you with, when you have your morning coffee in the morning. It's only good if you do like another stunt with it. This needs to there needs to be
right. We want a Banksy. We want a Banksy, like light it on fire kind of thing. So the buyer who ended up getting this has chosen to stay anonymous, but if you would like to come forward, we'd love to have you on the show. You can showcase this new artwork, what you're going to do with it. Maybe we could do the next stunt of this purchase on Defiance. We could do it live here on the show.
Yeah, that'd be great. We're having people on. We had the nature man on last time. Our park ranger came on, which has been fun. We should have more. To the point you just made, it is really nice hearing from everyday people who are fighting back, in just whatever capacity they have. Like, we all know Nobel Peace Prize winners are impressive. Like, we know they do impressive things, and it doesn't inspire you quite the same way, as just people working within the capacity they have. So that'd be great. All right, I know we got a little time for shout outs. We have new promotions on the anthill. So we got graphic today. We had Al and JD getting promoted. By the way, gang.
Wait, JD?
JD.
Wait, which JD? That
JD? This is his Miles moment. He's quietly joined the Defiance and is like completing actions to defeat Trump. No, gang. When we do these first 3 tiers of promotions, we err on the side of privacy. When you get on the leaderboard, we see your name in the way that it's meant to be displayed, whether you want your full name or etc. But on these first 3 tiers, we err on the side of privacy, which is why you see the names abbreviated or shortened at times. If you want to send your referral code out there, please do. This is a club. It's your club. Help grow the Defiance. Go to defiance.news/leaderboard so you can share your referral code. You'll find it there and be promoted yourself. Scout means you've brought one person into this club. So thank you, Al and JD, for your efforts to grow the Defiance in this country.
I wonder if JD brought his newborn baby, the vice president I'm talking about. Maybe that's the person he brought into this club.
Little JD.
I'm still making jokes about it being JD. I'm still making jokes about it being JD. We're not following. I'm sorry.
Well, look, because we don't have Miles Taylor here, we actually finished 4 minutes early. So we can. I think this is like the first time ever that Defiance has finished early. So we do have time for questions. If you all have any questions, please put them in the chat. We're happy to pick them out. And
Deborah says we love Canada. We do love Canada. I love Canada.
Canada's been part of the Defiance for some time.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They've been kicking ass for a while now, the Canadians.
Where is Miles? That's a question in the chat. Where is Miles?
We can't say, unfortunately, and I'm not even trying to be cagey. Miles is a person that gets targeted often, so we don't play the "Where's Miles in the World" game. But he's not on this broadcast right now. I'm a pretty transparent guy. I'd love to be more transparent. What was the name of the Substack? The last gentleman you had on, Josh Lynn, was the last person. I think it was couragenet.com. Was the name of it? CourageNet. Let me check, make sure I got the dot right. .com. Nope, that was wrong. I'm spreading misinformation. I'm sorry, gang. CourageNet.org. There we go. CourageNet.org. Apologies. There we go. It's just a website. I don't think they have a Substack up and running because it's a network of creators. And so they're a kind of distribution engine as well. But you can go down on their website and check out what they're up to. Ken Gilbert asked question they haven't asked for a couple months. What is our total membership number? Well, gang, if you want to know that, you got to come on Wednesday when we have our monthly member meeting where we report out all these numbers at 5 p.m., same time as we have Defiance Daily, but it's just for members. It's on a Zoom. So if you're not a member yet, join today and come on to that Zoom. And then that's where we pick out what topics and strategies we're taking on next. We host roundtables where Defiance members contribute their thoughts, feelings, expressions, whatever you want to say everything that they need to say about which direction they want the club to head into. We synthesize all that, and then we turn it into our strategy moving forward. So if you haven't joined yet, please join at defiance.org.
Do it.
Do it. Thank you for that contribution, Reese.
I'm just zoned out, Xander. It's Monday. Do you have wildfire smoke?
Just do it already.
Do you have wildfire smoke where you are, where you're living?
I don't know. It's cloudy, but it's always cloudy here. I don't know if it's smoke related.
It's been so smoky here. It's been a weird Monday. It feels apocalyptic a little bit.
Dang. Well, we're leaving you on that. It's the apocalypse. Good luck.
Well, hold on.
No, I'm kidding.
Let me, if I may. So I live in Montana, and I was a local news reporter for a long time, and I did a whole lot of wildfire reporting. And so there was this just horrific fire in Spokane, Washington over the weekend. I'm hearing that upwards of possibly 1,100 homes could be gone. There's going to be a lot more work to be done. Of course, this is not the first time we've seen something like this, and it won't be the last. And so I'm just going to plug that tomorrow morning on Grounded with myself and former Senator John Tester, we are interviewing a recently retired hotshot superintendent. We're going to talk all about these fires and policies that led us here and what we all across the country, not just out west, need to be aware of, because this kind of stuff can literally happen anywhere, and we're going to talk all about it tomorrow. So we would love it if you join us. We will be live at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, so 9 a.m. Eastern.
And how often are we supposed to rake the forest? I've been hearing from experts that we need to rake the forest more frequently. I've been out in my forest raking for weeks now.
Do you have blisters all over?
I don't see any improvement. It feels like I need more help. Is that not a thing?
I mean, don't go rake the forest. We can do better with our brush management, but rakes are not going to do that.
That's not the tool.
No. Rakes are rake America great. No, make America rake again. That's what it is. Make America rake again.
My daughter's breaking in here like this. It's January 6th in my house. She's breaking in and she's completely naked. So you'll have to take us off. Sign us off.
Okay. Hey, stay loud, stay brave, stay together. Is that what we say? All right. Bye, guys.